Are you ready? Ready to get in the zone? Now, you're in the red zone with your host, Gene Ponte and Joey Pender.
All right, everybody, it is so nice to be back in your homes on Wednesday night talking high school football. Joey Pender, Gene Ponte sitting in with you, where we will be for the next hour talking about what has been a very exciting 3 weeks of football already. First of all, by the way, great seeing you, man, on the TV side.
Well, I tell you what, it's a little different than the radio, but I enjoy it.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Why they let two big old boys like us on television on Wednesday nights, I'll never know.
They struggling.
They really are. Anyway, folks, I want to, by the way, before we get rolling too far into this thing, we want to welcome a new sponsor and a new location for our show, and certainly glad to be a part of a new business here in town, and you can never have enough of those. But located right off of Highway 165 on the right before you get to the university is a great new place called Go Wings, and it is G-E-A-U-X, Go Wings. And I tell you, they are a super great sponsor, and you can see, well, they pile them on huge, and we're going to be showing you a lot of their great food and part of their menu as we continue to kind of move along here on the opening night of the Ross Downs Red Zone. So anyway, glad you joined us. Lots of football to talk about, and like I said a minute ago, we are already into week 4. We've seen some good teams, a couple of surprise teams. Not to take anything away from the Delhi Bears, but at 3-0, they've, I think, finally found a defense that goes along with that offense they have.
Well, I tell you what, I visited with a coach this week, and Gene, he was real proud of how his defense is playing on that side of the ball. Offensively, they definitely got it going on. A quarterback that can throw it all over the field. They playing exciting football for the Delhi Bears.
We've had a lot of teams that have excelled. The Ruston Bearcats right now always play good football, but boy, they are 3 seconds and a Hail Mary away from being 3-0 right now. Got a very tough schedule, but they've got their tough horses at home. Talking about West Monroe and Washita district play. They've got Longview coming to the house this coming Friday night, and a game we'll talk about here shortly. But Coach Ball playing good football right now.
Well, I can tell you, and Jared Ball made this schedule, Gene. And when you play a schedule like he picked out and he called them to set up games, you know, he knew what he had coming, and, you know, the Bearcats are definitely answering the call right now.
West Monroe's another team, 3-0 right now, getting it done on defense. And in fact, 2 weeks ago over in Shreveport at the I Bowl, probably one of the most incredible finishes. I know you and I were on the radio when it happened, but boy, the way they came up, got that strip, and beat that team from down in Mobile, I think that did nothing but energized that football team and really kind of got them rolling. Not that they needed too much more, but boy, that was something special.
Well, you know, and it makes the senior class get closer, I think. When you're down and out, you think the game's over, and then you make a big play at the end of it and turn it around. And Coach Arledge, he told me about it today. He said it's just outstanding that our seniors stepped up.
Pretty cool stuff. Hey, let's talk about another team as we kind of move along here, the Neville Tigers. In week 1, they go to Ruston, and boy, really just got it handed to them. Come back in week 2 and pick up a W. So I was kind of curious as they went into that Washita game on Friday night, which team was going to show up. But boy, another big win, and I think Mickey McCarty continues his dominance of the Lions.
Well, I can tell you, and that game kind of could have went either
That's
way.
right, yeah.
They made a big play. Neville made a big play at the end of the game and forced a fumble, Gene, and you know, secured the win for the Neville Tigers. And you know, a lot of folks are kind of counting on Coach McCarty and the guys out after that first week, but you cannot count out the Neville Tigers.
Never can you. Oak Grove is another team. Let's talk a little bit about them, Joey. Traditionally, a program, even back to Vic Dalrymple days, you know this, they've always kind of gotten off to a semi-slow start, but by week 5, 6, 7, and certainly the last 3 or 4 weeks of the year, those dudes are in high gear. But right now, Ryan Gregory has them playing good football. They're coming off a huge win against Sterlington. They're in a nice spot right now.
Well, I can tell you, Ryan Gregory's proud of this bunch, and he should be. Big guys up front, big physical linemen, and a hard-nosed running back in the Rawls kid. And he's definitely got it going on. And, you know, it is nice to see them starting off so good.
All right, everybody. That's just a kind of in a nutshell, some of the teams that have at least grabbed our attention over the first 3 weeks of football. But we'll talk about them. We'll talk about everybody else in the area. We'll hear from a lot of the head coaches. But when we take a break, we'll come back on the other side of it with the Ouachita Christian Eagles. They're off to a pretty good start as well. See you in a minute.
It's been a few years since my playing days.
Even longer for me, but the dedication to hard work,
The competition too, Dad.
has laid the foundation for the type of attorneys we are.
Our team at the Downs Law Firm is proud to support our local high school football programs.
All season long, you'll hear us on K104 Friday Night Scoreboard Show, and this year we're helping to raise money for local charities as part of our Game of the Week.
Winning on and off the field.
It's what we do.
Get in the game. Call Ross. Introducing Sonic's Crispy Tenders. They're flavorful, they're crispy, they're flispy. Yeah, that's it. Flispy. Sonic's Crispy Tender Dinner. Hurry in and try it today. This is how you Sonic.
Enjoy the good times a little more with the right plan. State Farm agent Jeff Lamont is here to help you protect your dreams and loved ones with life insurance. Call Jeff Lamont today to find out which options are best for you. It's just another way we're here to help life go right.
Football Friday Night Extra, where we go the extra mile to get you inside every high school game in the Arklamis, proving week after week that nobody covers your team like our team. Football Friday Night Extra, Friday at 11 on Fox 14.
All right, everybody, we are off and running tonight with the Ouachita Christian Eagles. And first of all, we appreciate you for coming back with us for another year of the Red Zone, brought to you by our good friends Ross Downs. We're at a brand new place. I mentioned that back at the top of the show. You are no stranger to this show, so welcome back, and always great seeing you, Stephen.
Thank you, Gene. Good to be here.
It's nice to be talking football again. We've taken a while, Joey and I have, to kind of get in the saddle again, but it's been a nice start to the year, and especially for you guys as well.
Well, we're excited about the start of things, trying to keep people healthy. These two guys, proud of these seniors, their leadership. To my immediate left is Turner Carr, quarterback, that injured himself midway through the season last year, but came back and threw for, has done great here to start the year. And to his left is Nick Wood, senior offensive center and defensive end, and both these guys provide great leadership for us.
Now, being a former offensive lineman, Pender can't relate to this, but man, those offensive lineman guys don't get enough PR. So I'm glad you brought one of the hogs into the house.
They do the dirty work.
Yes, they do.
They do.
Nick will catch up with you. Well, let's start a little bit about that. This is a special football team. You guys had a great matchup against Sterlington a couple of weeks ago, but the season's going well so far, hasn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to me a little bit about what you guys feel like has been the success.
I think our success this year is just the work we put in the summer in the weight room. Being here for 3 years, I came my freshman year. This is definitely the best summer I've seen this summer. We had a lot of guys, over 30 workouts this summer, and just our senior leadership this year is great, and it's something we really need, and we have it this year.
Nick, I'm not one of those to jinx anybody, but the fact that you guys are off to a good start, not a whole lot of health problems, but you guys seem to be kind of in this groove early. Like I said, it was a good ball game against Sterlington, the only setback, but you guys play good football right now.
Yeah, we did, and that was probably one of the most fun football games I've ever played.
That was pretty awesome.
It was actually really fun. I loved sitting on that, just like watching our defense go, because our defense is what really helped that night, and they did an amazing job that night. And I'm just glad that I get to play this senior year with all my brothers, and I feel like it's going to be a great year.
Hey, Coach, before we get too deep into this, I'm going to let Joey join in the conversation a minute ago. Nick talked about that ball game with Sterlington. That was a special night for a lot of different reasons. There's a young lady right here in our backyard, Veda Powell, who unfortunately got diagnosed with cancer a little over a month or so ago. But boy, that community jumped out, and that was, I thought, probably one of the most special pre-games I've ever been a part of in high school football.
That was really neat, and appreciate Ross and them as they do their game of the week, using that opportunity of football to use it to bless others. And, we certainly hope that was a situation that Veda and her family just knows how much they are loved in this community, and just, a positive encouragement note just to hold on to that and have some encouragement going through all of this.
Joey?
Well, Coach, on that point, when you play the game of football, it's just a game. That's all it is. And when you go at war against each other and y'all real close to each other, but for y'all to do what y'all did to get involved and help raise money, my cap's off to you. Y'all did a wonderful job with that.
Well, thank you. And again, it was neat to see both schools coming together to support Veda and her family.
Yeah. To talk about this past Friday night, you guys played Delhi Charter, but I think there are half dozen guys got in the end zone, so a nice kind of split in carrying the ball and getting the work done.
Yes, sir. Up to this point, I've thrown a touchdown pass to every skill player starter on the offense.
Wow.
And we just have so much talent on our offense this year, and it's great being at quarterback knowing that you have that much talent around you and you can rely on anybody on your offense. And our offensive line this year, they're really starting to click, and they're looking really good. And when you get the ball and you start running, you see the open hole, it just feels good to know that your offensive line is there doing that dirty work for you.
Pretty sweet.
Hey, Nick, I noticed y'all in a game against Sterlington that y'all were a little undersized up front, but boy, do y'all play aggressive. I mean, how many seniors y'all got up front?
Starting the year, we had 3. We had our left tackle, Cole Hathaway, our right tackle, Carter Otan, and then you had me at center. And then we actually had, what was it? It was Garrett Folds at left guard and Grant Michaud at right guard, 2 juniors. And that's just something Coach Mose always looked forward to. He said, and Coach Bentley, they always say, if you mess up, go do it as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Because you'll still look good doing it out there. You got to go as hard as you can.
And Joey, that's a good teammate too when you drop the names of the other guys on the line with you like that too, huh?
Give them all some recognition. That's right.
That's what old linemen do. They stick
They
together.
take care of each other.
You're absolutely right. Coach, let's talk about obviously where you are. Hard to believe we're knocking on week 4 of the football season, but where we are, you being as a football team, and where you feel like you need to go to continue the progression.
Well, I tell you, as Turner mentioned earlier, or Nick, one of them talked about our summer workouts. We had had a record for the most guys ever hitting over 30 workouts. I think we had 20-something kids do that. So a very dedicated, committed group. Senior leadership is outstanding, and it's a very close-knit team. I mean, that's one thing. Coaches try to build chemistry, but they're a very close-knit team, and the thing that, as we have gone through the first 3 games, our effort is great. Our effort is great, and that's one thing that I really love about this team, the passion, the energy they play with. Where we got to go from here is we've got to do things right. Correct missed assignments, missed blocks, and just execute better. But again, they have the heart and the talent, and I'm real excited about the future of this team. Again, they're going to do a lot of great things this year. We've been battling the injury bug, but we've actually played more freshmen this year than we have played probably in the last 6 or 7 years. And so we're getting everybody into the mix, and like I say, it's a special group. It really is.
Turner, I don't know if every team does it, but I do know Washita Christian does it. You guys kind of get together as a team and go off on a retreat before the season starts, and that's where that building begins, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. We go to Camp Chioka, and I've never been a part of something like that until I came to OCS, and it's honestly one of the greatest things I've ever been a part of. Just being there with your brothers, your teammates that day, and just being around each other and bonding. All the games we play that help us bond, and one of the funnest is dodgeball late that night. It gets really competitive in there, but just being with your teammates through that day and that night, and just working together to do stuff and everything. And also when we bring our dads, that's a very special time with our dads.
Yeah. Well, Coach was talking about the commitment y'all have, and as a coach, and I'm a retired coach, Coach can do all those things that he lays out there for y'all, but for y'all to make that commitment to be there, I mean, caps off to the senior football players, because, I mean, that's really where the credit lies, because it's up to y'all to get them there, and evidently y'all done a good job with that.
I have. Excellent job.
Coach, quick scouting report for this week.
Well, Cicely Island, not a lot of depth. They have about 25 players on their team, some very talented athletes. They got guys that go both ways, and they're still running the old box there.
Still?
They're still running the box. And so we've got to make sure that we play assignment football, hit our gaps on defense, and then offensively, we need to take care of the football. That's the thing we're looking forward to, is we need to put 4 quarters together. We've not done that in the game yet in all 3 phases, so that's our goal this week.
Guys, nicely done. Stephen, always a pleasure, man.
Thank
Keep
you,
it up.
Jamie.
All right, everybody, a lot of football to talk about here on a Wednesday night, and we'll do that when we come back.
You're the first one up in the morning. You're ready for the day, and you've got a lot to do. But sometimes you need a bigger shovel. For over 17 years, Kepper Dirt and Equipment Rental has been keeping the big boys in the big toys. Doesn't matter if you're a hunter, farmer, contractor, or you just like getting dirty. We've got the steel to get the job done right. Kepper Dirt and Equipment Rental. Work done right.
As a local business owner, one of the things I like to do is work with other local businesses. And when we started our company back in 1995, one of the things we realized that we needed for our employees was a quality health insurance plan. That's why finding a company like Vantage that's a local company that provides quality health care and networks with other doctors was just a natural fit for us. If you're a local business owner and you're looking for a quality health insurance plan, I suggest that you give Vantage a call. I think you'll be just as satisfied with their product as I have been.
At Sonic, we're dedicated to the future of this community.
That's why we're a proud sponsor of the Sonic Drive-In Red Zone Scholarship.
A $2,000 scholarship will be awarded to a deserving high school senior, and in turn will be used to help further his or her education at the college of that student's choice.
Applications can be picked up at any participating Sonic Drive-In in Monroe, West Monroe, Jonesboro, or Winfield, and all entries are due in or before November 12th. Sonic Drive-In and Red Zone, proving students are winners.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit about our teams in single A football to kind of get things rolling. Got to start with the new sheriff in town over at St. Frederick. Andy Robinson was an offensive coordinator at Ruston High School. Got an opportunity to kind of head up his own program, and he's running the ship with the Warriors right now. Got off to a nice start at 2-0 before he kind of got reeled back in this past Friday night. But there's a guy with an open mind offensively, and I think he's going to do some great things there.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I think it started with his father. His daddy coached at Delhi forever, Corky Robinson, and I just look for him to continue on with that family legacy.
Well, this past Friday night, they had their struggles a little bit with Loyola. Still racked up a lot of offense on that football team. 7 turnovers didn't help their case, but they got a lot done.
And the Williams kid, Andrew Williams, he had over 200 yards passing and 200 yards rushing. What a night for that young man. And, it's hard to win a football game with 7 turnovers, Gene.
Well, they'll try to get things back on the winning ways. On Friday night, they have Tensaw in the house. Andy, tell us about them.
Obviously, coming out the gate with the start that we had and getting off to a fast start, and then going on the road and suffering our first loss to a good Loyola team last week. We're excited about the opportunity to come back home this week and get back to work against the Tensaw team that's coming off a road win themselves, and going to be a formidable opponent, and we look forward to the challenge.
Hey, another program that has a new head football coach, Cedar Creek, and a guy you know pretty well, Shannon Brown, took over and trying to put his stamp on what the Cougars are doing. And boy, they looked strong this past Friday night against Arcadia, but Shannon's a guy you know pretty darn well.
Well, Shannon was a heck of a football player. His whole family were football players, Gene, and he's a heck of a coach, and I think he's going to get that program going.
Well, this past week against Arcadia, man, you talk about rolling through some offense. Boy, every which way but loose.
Lane Blue, 233 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Henry Terrell had 142 yards, 4 touchdowns. What kind of offensive production is that? It's outstanding.
Well, he'll hope it continues this Friday night. They begin district play, Cedar Creek does, and it's going to be a great football game as the Delhi Bears, also undefeated, roll into Ruston. Coach?
team's coming together. Lost a lot of starters from last year. Kids are starting to step up. We have some good leadership and kids like Henry Terrell, Trey Pardue, Preston Tullis, some of those seniors really coming through and showing the young guys how to play some ball. They're spread offense. The quarterback's a really dynamic player, dual threat kid. He throws the ball well. He runs the ball extremely well. They have a good running back, some big, tall, wide receivers. It's a lot of tough matchups for us.
And we already made mention back at the top of the show about the Oak Grove Tigers, obviously undefeated 3-0. I think they handed Sterlington their first regular season loss in 21 ball games.
Wow.
So obviously he's playing well early on.
Well, and you know, and Ryan Gregory told me early on that his line play should be outstanding, Gene.
They're huge.
They're huge. I mean, they'll block the sunlight, Gene. These guys are huge. And White Rollins, the running back and linebacker, guy plays both ways. He had a big night the other night. He forced 2 fumbles, 6 solo tackles. What a good football player he is.
Well, we'll see how they make out this coming Friday night. They'll make the trip down to Delta Charter. Ryan, tell us about your ball club.
We're going to have to come out and play very, very technique-sound football. Don't turn the football over. Don't give up big plays to give ourselves a chance.
All right, everybody. Also on the docket this week in a game that is actually on Thursday night, Darbone Woods, who picked up their first win of the year, they play at Lincoln Prep, another team that will be looking for their first win. LaSalle's at Montgomery. Jonesboro Hodge, your boys over at Haynesville. That's going to be a barn burner.
It could be a battle.
Block is at St. Mary's. Arcadia will try to get back on track. They travel over to Homer this week. We already talked about the Delhi Cedar Creek ball game, OCS, Oak Grove and Delta Charter, and then Tensas taking on the Warriors St. Fred. Hey, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of our teams that are playing private league football. River Oaks Ball Club, obviously, heck, right around the corner from us as the crow flies. Struggling a little bit is Robert Hanna's group. They got beat up on pretty good this past Friday night by St. Joseph's 44-7, and then Compaya took it to them the week before that. Numbers always a factor. Still trying to figure things out.
Well, the one thing about Coach Hanna, we all know he's a heck of a football coach.
That's right.
And he'll get it turned around.
All right, everybody, here's the schedule for all of our private schools this week. And our condolences, by the way, to head football coach Boyd Cole over at Riverfield Academy. He lost his mom this past week, and knowing Boyd as well as I do, I know how big of a loss that was to him. But he should be back on the sideline this coming Friday night. Union Christian, they are on the road. We already told you about River Oaks. And folks, 8-man football getting bigger and bigger around here. In fact, Prairie View Academy made that change in the off-season, Joey.
And I can tell you, you know, not all the young men are cut out for 11-man football. You know, the 8-man football, more of a backyard type football, throwing it around a little more. And, you know, a lot of high school players, that's their cup of tea.
Some team put up 80-something points this past.
Yes, 80-something
yeah,
points. I've gone years without scoring 80 points.
Yes, you have. All right, everybody. Commercial break time. When we come back, we're going to kind of ramp it up a little bit, talk about our teams in 2 and 3A. See you in a minute.
At Highcombe Eye Center, restoring your vision is our passion. Pioneering new technology and setting new standards in cataract care. Exclusively at Highcombe Eye Center, we offer the combination of the precision of the Aura as well as the planned accuracy of the Varian Alcon Duet.
Cataract surgery with the Aura and Varian system is the next step in personalized surgery in ophthalmology. It truly improves the patient's vision and improves their lives.
Call to schedule your cataract evaluation.
Hungry for a big juicy steak? How about a rack of barbecue ribs? Well, there's no better place for meat than Randall's Fine Meats. Juicy, fresh-cut 1855 steaks, boudin and boudin balls, daily rib specials, just $11.99 a slab, stuffed pork chops, fresh-made meat pies, boiled shrimp, fried cracklins, big bone chicken, and stuffed potatoes. Randall's caters. Call and let us cater your next event. It's fresh every day at Randall's Fine Meats on the corner of Old Sterlington Road and Fink's Hideaway in Monroe.
$2.99 for a Car Hop Classic. What a steal.
Steal? That's a heist. Put this on.
Oh, it's a disguise.
I don't think I can eat in this. It's all part of the plan, my friend.
Get a quarter-pound double cheeseburger or a Slinger Plus Tots for $2.99. Try it today.
Fox 14, the official home for NFL and New Orleans Saints football.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Ross Downs, the Red Zone here on a Wednesday night, our first show of the year, and let it be a point of record that we'll be with you all the way through Turkey Day. So a lot of football to talk about as we continue the regular season and of course into the first few weeks of the playoffs. You can see a lot of the great food that is here at Go Wings in Monroe. And again, in case you just haven't heard about them yet, they literally just opened up a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and they're just off of Highway 165, just on your right before you get to the university. So come out and check out some of this great food. I'm telling you, they got wings, some great corn dogs that we'll be inhaling here shortly, and a great place to come spend some time with your family and enjoy some great food. We have, Gene, and you got this sauce has got a little kick to it. It's got a lot of kick to it.
So be careful when you dip the first one.
All right, everybody. Let's talk now about the Mangum Dragons. They finally found their spice this past Friday night. Boy, Tommy Thorpe, I know, has struggled a little bit. He's got a young football team, not the Dragons that we know, but they finally kind of got things on a roll this past week and got a much-needed W. Let's talk about them.
Well, I can tell you, the quarterback, Caleb Tutu, Pleasant, that was his first start, Gene. He got a touchdown. He threw a pass for a touchdown, rushed for over 70 yards. What a good way to start his first night on the field.
All right, Coach, you got Delhi Charter coming to the house, the fourth of, I think, 7 straight home games to open the season. But, Tommy, tell us about the Gators and what you think of them.
Well, I mean, we're 1-2 and very young team, trying to get better, trying to get more disciplined and learn how to play the game. I think we're about where I thought we'd be. We're going to have to really make some big jumps the next 2 weeks. Well, I got to tackle their quarterback. Their quarterback's their quickest feet, their best player. They're an option team, a veer option team, and they try to find various ways to let him carry the football. And we haven't had a lot of success tackling quick feet this year. Certainly got to get better this week. On the parking situation, we have new parking lots behind the school now, so actually we have better parking than we've ever had. We're still finishing up that field house, but got a lot of the muddy trails taken care of and good concrete all the way to and from the visitor stands. It's going to be a spectacular place when we're finished.
A couple of the ball games to highlight in 2A football. Look at Beekman Charter there.
Yeah.
Joey. Got Vidal, you come to the house. This is again action at Mangum. Marksville taking on Winfield. Dunbar coming up here bringing his club, and then Faraday taking on the Hornets. Now, Sterlington, I told you they had that regular season win streak broken the other night up at Oak Grove. What I think a lot of people don't know is that they've been snake bitten with injuries as well. That quarterback didn't really play up until this past week, had a couple other guys down, and by no means is that an excuse. Lee Doty would tell you that's not one, but the truth is they've still been short of 100%.
That's right. And, you know, when you limp into Oak Grove, you better, those young guys better step it up. I mean, one guy that definitely stepped it up the other night was Willie Holloway. Willie had 14 solo tackles, wow, and he had 4 of them for losses. So what a good night he had on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I know they'll continue to work. He's got a good football team over there. It wasn't great losing C.J. Colvin back in the opening week of the season again. Got a feel for that young man, but they'll get it right. They've got Loyola Prep on Friday night. Coach?
We feel pretty good about our team. Looking forward to Loyola this week and kind of get off the mat and see what we got about us. Well, they have a very strong pass and attack. Have a senior quarterback and 3 senior receivers that have all played for 3 years, and you know, we'll have to do our best to try to slow them down.
Joey, let's talk about the Rams. Big coach down there at Richwood. A team the other night that had Franklin Parrish coming in there, but I remember him telling you and I before the ball game that they're still working on that offense. You know, they were throwing it all over the yard the last couple of years, had the horses to pull it off, but he was getting a little concerned. He says, man, if that doesn't work tonight, we're going back to playing smash mouth.
Yeah, and you know, as a football coach, you're trying to figure out early in the year what your troops can do better, and that's exactly where Robert Harvey is. He had a running back the other night, Benny Davis, had 9 carries, 93 yards. He scored a touchdown, and he broke a big run for 45 yards. So the running game might be the route Coach Harvey can go.
Well, in the second half, and they were leading 8-0 at the break, they gave up 3 scores and ended up getting beat by what has turned out to be a good Franklin Parish team. So anyway, this week they'll try to lick their wounds a little bit. It will not be easy. They're going to Bastrop, where another team is all about throwing it all over the yard. Coach?
Well, again, Bastrop has a good senior-oriented ball club. Those guys been putting this thing together for a few years, and so they're ready to play. They look good on film. Got their quarterback back, the trigger man, and he has about 4 or 5 good receivers that can make plays at any time. So it's going to be a challenge to our defense to see if we can run with those guys. But the main thing is to keep that quarterback in the pocket, and hopefully we get a few turnovers.
Now a little bit further north on 165, the Wasserman Wildcats. You know, they're in a tough spot. You know, Dean Smith got put on the shelf for a couple of ball games, and I think this is his last week to be in that spot. Jackie Hamilton has come in and I think done a nice job of running that football team, along with Pat Williams and the other coaches that are on that staff. But boy, this past week, they struggled obviously against West Monroe. A lot of teams will, but boy, they just couldn't get it going.
Well, I talked to Jackie Hamilton today, and he mentioned they made a lot of mental mistakes. And, you know, a lot of folks are going to do that against West Monroe. They'll force you into some mental mistakes.
All right, well, Dean, I know you got a good football team down there. Tell us about them.
I think at times we had a lot of key plays with missing opportunities or blown, but also with the new staff and the kids coming together, I see progress every time I watch film Saturday morning. Really excited about how the kids are fighting through some of that burst time during the ball game. I know at times we'll miss some plays, and normally kids will jump down each other's throat, but very excited to see the kids encourage one another, still show up at practice, still, are excited about playing football for Wasserman High School. St. James getting to a part of our schedule now, playing our 3A teams, all right? So now St. James is a highly ranked team. They played some tough ball games this year. Lost a tough on Friday, but I really think that Coach Valdez had those kids ready to play. They run fast at the ball. That quarterback is something special. I mean, he needs just a little crease, and he'll go 60, 70 yards on a QB zone read. So the key to that game is really slowing that quarterback down and capitalize on the pass. We dropped a lot of passes in the end zone this past couple of weeks, and they got to capitalize on opportunities.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a long road trip to St. James and a very good football program, so we'll see how things turned out. You're obviously looking at the rest of the action on Friday night. Again, the Tigers are at Carroll. Madison is home. They've got General Trask. Union Parish, good football team, Joey Pender.
Yes. They also a big physical bunch. And, they got Manny, and I talked to the Manny staff down there earlier in the year, and that was one of those games, Gene, they had circled before day one. So it's going to be a war down there.
All right, Caldwell on the road, and Gina playing good football here in the early going at Grant this weekend also. All right, folks, we still have a lot more football to talk about here on a Wednesday night. This is the Ross Downs Red Zone. We're coming to you from Go Wings right over here in Monroe off of Highway 165. We'll see you in a minute.
Hi, I'm Ross Downs. Has a car wreck turned your life into a mess? Let me handle all that stress. For over 20 years, I've represented thousands of clients and have recovered tens of millions of dollars on their behalf. I aggressively take on the big insurance companies.
I'm Earl Ross Downs. Is an insurance company bullying you around? Hire the Downs Law Firm. We won't back down.
Car wreck, big truck wreck? Call us now at 325-7677.
Louisiana Delta Community College is your community college. Whatever your aspirations, we're here to help. We offer transfer degrees if you'd like to continue on to university life. We offer associate degrees that can take you to the workforce or to a university. We even offer programs that teach you only the skills you need for the job. And that's not all. If you think you missed out because you didn't earn your high school degree, we can even help with that. Call us today. We have 8 locations to serve you. Louisiana Delta Community College.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the big show here on a Wednesday night. We call it the Red Zone, and we are at Go Wings right over here by the campus of ULM, and certainly glad you have stayed with us through the night. You heard from some of the teams in 2 and 3A just a couple of minutes ago, but I'm not going to let the night get away without visiting with Alex Washington, the head football coach at Carroll High School, his first year as a head coach. And I know it's Alex, but I like to call him Tank, and I know a lot of other folks have done that too.
Yes,
so nice to be in a spot where you're the HC for the first time ever. That was a great all season for you, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. It was the first time for a lot of things, but I'm up for the challenge. Glad to be back home as the new head coach at Carroll High School, and we're going to give them all we got.
And in case a lot of you don't know, he played ball at Carroll High School, went on and played college ball at Ole Miss, so certainly has a lot of football in his history. But boy, what a great program you took over for. Jackie Hamilton, I thought, did some great things there, but the opportunity to go and put your own name on your own program is something kind of cool, isn't it?
Yes, I'm very excited to put a new touch on the program. Coach Ham did a good job in the past, but now, they chose to go with me, and I'm ready to lead the team.
All right, you got a couple of guys here you brought along with us at Go Wings. Tell us who they are.
I got Jamar Forbes, number 8. He's our senior. He's a running back. He also plays some receiver for us. And we got our Mr. Everything, Sid Woods, quarterback, receiver, and defensive back for us.
Man, y'all winging all over the place. Who's that big dude at the end of the table?
Coach Pender.
I had to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I know you and Joey have a little history too, huh?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. It was good competing against Coach when he was the head coach.
Hey, Joe, go ahead.
Well, Coach, it's a big difference between assistant coach and head coach. What do you think is the biggest difference between the two?
I think the biggest difference is the administration role of it, learning, how to manage the money and doing all the other things. Coaching is coaching, but when you get to the other aspect of things, it's kind of a little different.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, let's talk with some of your players a little bit. We'll talk, who'd you call him, Mr. Everything down there?
Cedric Woods.
Hey, Cedric, obviously, it's a great opportunity to be in a spot where your teammates look up to you, to be a leader of the football team. How have you embraced that charge as you guys have gone through the first 3 weeks of the season?
Being the leader on the team is a difficult job, but you gotta just roll with the punches sometimes. You gotta lead your team into battle every Friday night and go out there and try to execute the game plan as perfectly as possible and get the win.
I've been out at practice a couple of times already this year, and in fact, I've videotaped, I think, the Mansfield game a couple of weeks ago. Y'all had a lot of success this past week, a lot of success against Lincoln Prep, but you guys are throwing it all over the place, mixing that thing up, and still trying to learn a new game plan too, huh? Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
Our offensive coordinator, he was trying to implement some passing this past week to get us comfortable. We had homecoming this past week, so just to get our confidence up a little bit going this week into Neville.
Obviously, you're a guy who counting on as a senior. That's a fun spot to be in, but I know you want to make this last year special too. So talk to me about this football team through the first 3 weeks. It hadn't been a great start, but when you get a new system, a new coach, you guys are still learning each other.
We're making things work, coming together, learning each other and getting used to the playbook. But now we're mostly know it. We executing, getting better at executing our plays.
Joey?
Hey, Cedric. When you got a new staff coming in and you're changing your offense and defense, it takes a little while to get adjusted to that. Am I right? Where would you say y'all are as far as being along, getting all the playbook in?
I wouldn't say we're that far along, especially defensively, because our defensive coordinator, he came from the junior high. And most of the guys already knew him. We was used to his defense, so that was a smooth transition. And the offense was more the same. We just came in, buckled down in the spring, and we trying to get better every day.
Good deal.
A couple of weeks ago against Mansfield, a lot of penalties, still learning to be disciplined out on that football field. Obviously, y'all started to kind of click a little bit this past Friday. I know, as you and I have talked at practice, you guys are getting better every week, which is all you can really ask for.
Oh, yeah. As far as the penalties, I think if we can cut down on the penalties a little more and play more disciplined football, I think we'll be fine. Pretty much compete with anybody we play against.
Well, this week it doesn't give you a chance to rest very long, because I know you were probably in there all day Sunday and every night this week as you guys get ready for a very good Neville team.
Oh yeah, yes sir. Neville, traditionally has a great team, so we're getting ready for that battle. We know it's going to be a physical game. We're just trying to make sure our guys up to par and know what to do so they can play hard and play fast.
Cedric, how cool is it playing against guys that I know you know well? I mean, all the players, for whether it be Neville or Wassman or anybody here in town, you guys all know each other. So a little bit of jawing going on, but this is a big football game for y'all, isn't it? Talk to me about that.
I always love playing people I know, because after the game, you know, you get to talk a little trash to them, you know. It's always a good time when you play a good rival team.
Hey, well, tell me about the biggest thing you're looking forward to this coming week, and even as you get into district play here in a couple of weeks. It's hard to believe we're already in week 4, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The biggest thing I'm looking forward to is for everybody to come and compete, and just the game itself. I'm ready to get in with pads with everybody and we play and give a good show for our fans, compete and execute our plays that coaches give us.
Well, I know Mickey McCarty pretty good, Coach, and I promise you, he made that speech already. He'll remember history from a few years back. I know you have too. He's going to tell their guys, hey, don't overlook this bunch just because they're struggling a little bit out the box.
Yes,
so I know you got probably a surprise or two up your sleeve.
Yes, so we're gonna make sure we have a good game plan, and we're gonna be ready for them.
All right, everybody, the Carroll Bulldogs ought to be a special place, and it is at Bulldog Stadium on Friday night. Hey, nicely done, guys, and great luck the rest of the season, too.
Thank you.
Always great seeing you, man.
Oh, yeah,
all right, everybody, commercial break time. We'll be back after this.
Introducing Sonic's Crispy Tenders. They're flavorful, they're crispy, they're flispy. Yeah, that's it. Flispy. Sonic's Crispy Tender Dinner. Hurry in and try it today. This is how you Sonic.
At Louisiana Pain Care, doctors perform non-surgical chronic pain treatments like radiofrequency ablation.
Radiofrequency ablation is a treatment option for facet-related back pain. It is an outpatient procedure that requires specialized training. My partners and I are the only physicians in North Louisiana that have received specialized training to perform this procedure.
If chronic pain limits your life, see the specialist at Louisiana Pain Care.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Joey, you and I talked back at the top of the show at the Neville Tigers. Didn't look very good in week 1, much better in week 2. I thought really kind of came together, especially defensively in week 3. And boy, they've got a quarterback that's getting it done, huh?
Oh, there's no doubt. And I tell you what, they beat a quality football team in Ouachita this past week. And of course, that game kind of could have went either way, but you know, it fell Neville's way the other night.
Well, they've got another big football game on Friday night. They're all big, but they're going down to Carroll. Chris Immersion got over there to Bill Ruppel Stadium to catch up with Mickey and ask him a few questions about that. Chris, take it away, man.
All right, Gene and Joey, thanks. I've got the legend, longtime Neville head coach Mickey McCarty. Hey, first things first. You know, the Ruston game didn't go the way you wanted it to, but going into week 2, was there ever any concern as to which Neville team would show up versus Ouachita?
Well, there's a lot of concern about the Neville team after the Ruston game in week 1. We didn't show up and play very well. Credit Ruston, they did. But credit our kids' resiliency. They bounced back. Week 2, I thought we played a good game against Warren Central. You know, and then, of course, the Ouachita game's always a big one. They're very competitive and very talented this year. But our kids responded with a great effort. A very hard-fought football game. Really could have gone either way. But in the end, our guys, you know, got the job done and made enough plays to win it.
Let's talk about the quarterbacks. You know, Jordan Thomas has been a huge stud for you guys this year. Last week, I believe he had 28 carries, 159 yards. How special is he to this Neville offense?
Well, Jordan's our senior quarterback. He knows our system. You know, very talented athlete. He runs very well. He's doing a good job right now with our team and our offense. And the other night, of course, he got loose and made a couple of really big runs and got a few extra yards there along the way and wound up having a big night on the ground. But a lot of credit there goes to our offensive line and tight ends who paved the way. But Jordan's doing a good job. I'm proud of him at this point, but he's got to continue to improve, and we've got to get more efficient in our passing game.
Let's talk Andrew Graley. Last week or so far this season, 5.5 yards a carry. What does it say about Andrew, and most importantly, what does it say about the offensive line here at the Tigers?
Well, you know, first of all, Andrew's come around. He dealt with some injuries early in the fall camp, had a hamstring that had limited him. At the end of summer, he's finally back to health. A senior tailback for us, you know, right at 200 pounds, good downhill runner. And it showed up well the last 2 weeks. But again, a lot of credit to our offensive line, our tight end group that does a good job up in front of them. And if we continue to improve there, you know, our backs will hopefully continue to have some good nights, but still got a lot of work to do to get there.
Let's talk about the defense. Defense has only given up an average of 280 yards per week. It's partially thanks to number 81, your big guy over there, especially on that slant last week, that big play last week, and also the defense forced 7 punts overall. How is the Tigers' defense compared to last year's and previous years before that?
Our defense has played well, you know, the last few weeks, giving us a chance to stay in the games. Really defended well, you know, at times last week. What we're really good last week at was third down. We were 100% getting off the field on third down. We gave up 1 fourth down score on a throw to Ouachita. But what I really liked last week about our defense was the grit. I thought we played extremely hard right to the end. We had a good, you know, strip of a pass. It was a big pass play at the fourth quarter into the game to cause a fumble. And our defense just stood up time after time for us again last week against a really talented Ouachita offense who did get 2 scores on the board on us, but they're very talented. They got loose and made a couple big plays.
You know, Coach, this week you have Carroll. Now, every week, we always hear never overlook an opponent. Coach, is that the same message you're giving to your players this week?
It was said very early in our Monday meeting. We should never and hopefully never will overlook anybody. And certainly this week fits that bill. Carroll's coming off their first win of the year, so you know their kids are excited at practice this week, getting to host the Neville Tigers at their place. So we know we've got to go down and be ready to play, and most importantly, show up and to the game on Friday and execute what we do well. But we've got a lot of work to do to get there. Again, we're still learning and growing, and hopefully we'll continue to see good improvement out of our players.
Coach, I appreciate it. Neville and Carroll over the Dog Pound Friday night at 7 o'clock. But for right now, Gene and Joey, back to you.
All right, let's talk about a program you know a lot about. You spent quite a few years there, and we're talking about West Ouachita. Matt Middleton running the show, however. 0-3, but I think a very good football team and a Chiefs team right now that I think is obviously doing what Matt does well, and that's dominate the ball offensively. I think the other night they had 338 some odd yards rushing, had 62 carries. So they dominated time of possession, but they're having problems closing it out.
You know, that's happened 3 weeks in a row, Gene. You know, they have a lead, they going into the second half with a lead, and somehow things don't fall
within a touchdown at the end of the third quarter.
That's right, and it's somehow the ball bounces against them, and but Matt Middleton's doing a fine job out there, and he will definitely get it going.
Well, Tobias Owens is one of those guys that's making it work for him. In fact, he and Alfred Cole, and I think the other kid, Jordan
Carter, he's a little scat back, Gene.
All 3 of them had over 100 yards rushing the other night. But, boy, they've got their work cut out for them. They're getting on the road this week up to North Webster. Matt?
North Webster, very athletic, got great team speed, had a big win on Saturday night against Minden. So they're playing a tough schedule like we are too, but you know they've got a couple playmakers that are really scary to see in space, but we're going up there, which will be a tough trip for us drive-wise, and they have kind of electric home crowd and stadium, and it's going to be a big test for us, but like I said, we need to find a way to get a win because we need one bad.
Hey, you know, you got to be impressed a little bit too what Bastrop is doing here in the early going. They went on the road this past Friday night and put 41 points on Calvary Baptist, and we saw them in the Jamboree. We've seen them once since then, you and I.
Yeah.
And we even made mention earlier, you're talking about throwing it all over the place.
I'm going to tell you, that quarterback at Bastrop, I truly believe he's on a different level than most guys around here. What a smart football player, and he can throw it and thread a needle with it, Gene.
Well, on Friday night, they host the Richwood Rams, and we asked Coach about it.
To be fast, to be athletic, to be well coached up. Coach Harvey has done a great job over there with their program. They're coming fresh off a trip to the Superdome. So I know they have that same hunger in this coming into this year. We're just getting better every week, man. I'm very happy with the progression my team has made from last year and the first part of this season this year, and I hope we continue to get better.
All right, looking for some 4A football on Friday night? Well, Franklin Parish is down underneath the water tower at Kentwood. Neville again taking on the Sea Dogs, and West Ouachita making the trip over to North Webster. All right, 5A action. West Monroe. Quite a football team. We know that. usually are every year. They've had some nice quality wins here in the early going. And they're getting a little bit of a contribution from just about everybody, Joey.
They are. One guy I like to point out is Cam Wright. He had 15 carries the other night, 125 yards, but Gene, 4 touchdowns in one ball game.
Pretty impressive stuff. Michael Hamburg also aided the win, had a punt return for a touchdown, which is always nice to get points out of your special teams play. They beat Wassman on Friday, but they'll, I guess, shift gears a little bit, and Noxubee County, a school over in Mississippi, is back in the house, and we asked Coach about them. Jerry?
Noxubee is a very talented. They have a lot of talent, a lot of good skill people. They throw the ball down the field. They throw a lot of screen passes. Got good receivers, good quarterback, and good running backs. Their offensive line is not real big, but they're very efficient. Defensively, they're gonna have athletes. They're gonna run to the ball.
You know, we've already kind of made mention a little bit about Ouachita. Tough loss at Neville. I thought they had the team that was going to finally get over the top and break that streak that Neville has had. But like you said earlier, turnover late fourth quarter, got it done for Neville. But boy, they still have some firepower. I know the Shaw kid, Zach Shaw's throwing it around. He's got a wide receiver who's doing some good things for him. Xavier Lewis, I think, had 140, 150 yards in their ball game against the Tigers. Good stuff, Jeff Fitzgerald has.
You know, and another thing, Gene, they had 22 carries rushing the football for 168 yards against Neville, and Neville's got a good defense.
Well, they also have big play capabilities, and we'll hear a lot more from the Lions as the season goes along, that I assure you. They've got the Karen Crow Bears coming to the house on Friday night. Jeff?
Karen Crow's a very good football team coming in Friday night, and they've got some great speed on both sides of the ball. They're not really big on the line on either side, but man, they're fast. They're very physical, very good football team. They've gone back and are running the old split back veer, and they'll spread it out a touch. But man, they are really good at what they're doing in that veer right now. And defensively, they just fly around and get after your tail.
All right, the Ruston Bearcats 2-1 on the year. They're a 3-second Hail Mary play away from being undefeated. Got Longview coming in here, but this is a football team that I think has the right mix of good talent, good solid defense, and I think Jared Ball's got a chance to make a nice run this year, Joey.
There's no doubt, and some of those folks over there in Ruston kind of think that quarterback was down in those 3 seconds you were talking about.
Yeah.
So there are some question marks about that call there late in the ball game, but I can tell you, DeAndre Griffin, what a heck of a football player he is. He's a running back. He's a sophomore. He had 236 yards rushing the other night, 2 touchdowns. What a good football player he is.
Longview, Texas. Jared Ball has spent some time over there on that staff with John King, who used to be at Ouachita. We asked him about it. Coach?
Yeah, they're going to be well coached with really good football players, and you know, they've got a long history of doing that. Coach King does a very good job with them. Me and him coached together for quite some time, so we kind of know what to expect from each other, but really it boils down to the kids and what they can do.
All right, thank you, Coach Ball. As we go to break, here's what's happening in 5A action on Friday night. We'll see you in a few.
It's been a few years since my playing days.
Even longer for me, but the dedication to hard work,
The competition too, Dad.
has laid the foundation for the type of attorneys we are.
Our team at the Downs Law Firm is proud to support our local high school football programs.
All season long, you'll hear us on K104 Friday Night Scoreboard Show, and this year we're helping to raise money for local charities as part of our Game of the Week.
Winning on and off the field.
It's what we do.
Get in the game. Call Ross.
At Sonic, we're dedicated to the future of this community.
That's why we're a proud sponsor of the Sonic Drive-In Red Zone Scholarship.
A $2,000 scholarship will be awarded to a deserving high school senior, and in turn will be used to help further his or her education at the college of that student's choice.
Applications can be picked up at any participating Sonic Drive-In in Monroe, West Monroe, Jonesboro, or Winfield, and all entries are due in or before November 12th. Sonic Drive-In in Red Zone, proving students are winners.
Classic, what a steal.
Steal, that's a heist. Put this on.
Oh, disguise.
I don't think I can eat in this. It's all part of the plan, my friend.
Get a quarter-pound double cheeseburger or a Slinger Plus Tots for $2.99. Try it today.
All right, everybody. Once again, we're at Go Wings in Monroe. Besides the wings, corn dogs, and they are very awesome. You take it from here.
Well, I can tell you this. Ever since they put this food out here, Gene has kind of been off.
Hey, no, it's just not the Gene show.
It's the whole crew in between breaks, so they are just hammering this food. What good food we have here at Go Wing.
Hey, and look, folks, they have a drive-through, and that makes it easy. So call ahead, order, and you'll be well taken care of. That we promise. All right, real quick. K104 Friday nights from 8 to 10:30. We're back as always for the big Friday night school board show. But Joey, Ross Downs, and Clay Park and I have added something a little bit more to our plate as if we need that. From 5 to 6:30 on AM 540 and FM 105.7, we now have a high school football tailgate show. We're getting you all set up with what's going on in Friday night action, and even better than that, we're raising money for a lot of non-profit charities in town, Ross.
I can tell you, we've done 3 games so far, Gene, and that part of the segment really shows that Ross Downs is committed to helping the community.
We had some good things going, and on Friday night, we're actually at the Delhi Cedar Creek ball game and raising money for MedCamp. So that's something we'll explain a lot more on next week's show with the Red Zone. All right, folks, that's going to do it for our first show. We certainly hope you've enjoyed the 60 minutes and know that we'll be right back here next Wednesday night with a lot more prep action to talk about. My Chris Immersion put some of the highlights of week 3 to music. We hope you'll enjoy that as well, and we'll see you right back here next week. Night, everybody.
Music Video is sponsored by Kepper Trucking and Dirt Contracting. You're the first one up in the morning. You're ready for the day, and you've got a lot to do. But sometimes you need a bigger shovel. For over 17 years, Kepper Dirt and Equipment Rental has been keeping the big boys in the big toys. Doesn't matter if you're a hunter, farmer, contractor, or you just like getting dirty. We've got the steel to get the job done right. Kepper Dirt and Equipment Rental.